Now, before I get to any question, we first understand what a probability scale looks like and how can we use it. Now, this is what a probability scale is. It starts from 0 and goes up to 1. Now, it could be in fractions, like in this case, you have a half. You could also write this as percentages, or you could also write this as decimals. Now, if you're at 0, that means your probability of an event happening is 0. It's impossible for that event to happen. It's not possible. For example, if I say that I'm rolling a dice, and what's the probability of getting a 12 if it's a fair dice? Now, how many sides are there in a dice? There are 6 sides, and you're starting from 0, 1 up to 6. So there's no chance of you getting a 12 on a dice. That would be 0. If you're here at 1, that means your probability of an event happening is 100%. It's certain to happen. It's bound to happen. And if you're halfway between 0 and 1, that means there's a 50% chance of that event happening. There's 1 in 2 chance of that happening. For example, if you have a coin, you have 50% chance of getting a head and 50% chance of getting a tail. So that's what a half probability means. Now let's see what the question here says. Question number 1. Steve spins a fair 4-sided spinner. On the probability scale, mark with a cross the probability that the spinner lands on A. As you can see, this spinner has 4 sides, and one of those sides has an A on it. So the probability when the spinner is spun to get an A is going to be 1 over 4, which is a quarter, and it's halfway between 0 and half. Part B says, write down the probability that the spinner lands on C. That would be 2 over 4 because 2 sides have a C on them and total number of sides are 4. Or you could also simplify this and write 1 over 2. Question number 2. Sophie spins a fair 4-sided spinner. On the probability scale, mark with a cross the probability that the spinner lands on 2. That's 2 over 4. And if you simplify, it's 1 over 2. You have 50% chance of getting a 2 on the spinner. Write down the probability that the spinner lands on 4. There are no 4s on this spinner. So there is no chance that the spinner is going to land on 4 because the only sides that it has is 1, 2, and 3. So my probability of getting a 4 is going to be 0. Question number 3. The probability of an event is marked with a cross on the probability scale. Write down an estimate for the probability of the event. Now this is exactly in between 0 and 1, so my estimate will be a half. If it was here, it would be 1 over 4, and if it was here, it would be 3 over 4. Here is a list of 8 numbers. One of the numbers is chosen at random. Write down the probability that this number is 9. The probability of getting a 9 is 1 over 8 because you only have one number that's a 9 and total numbers are 8. So each number here has an equal chance of coming. Probability of getting a 2 is also going to be 1 over 8, of getting a 5 is also going to be 1 over 8, and so on. Question 5. There are 11 pens in a box. 5 pens are red, 4 pens are blue, 2 pens is green. One pen is selected at random from the box. Write down the probability that pen is green. There are two pens here that are green, and total number of pens are 11. So 2 over 11. Part B. Write down the probability that pen is black. There is no black pen in the box. The probability of getting a black pen is 0, because you cannot get a black pen in a box that only contains red, blue, and green pens. Question number 6. An ordinary fair dice is thrown once. On the probability scale, mark with a cross the probability that a dice lands on an even number. Before I answer this, let's first look at a dice. This is a fair dice, so the sides are going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, probability of getting an even number, you have 2, 4, and 6. So it's 3 over 6. If we simplify, it's 1 over 2. That's a half. Write down the probability the dice lands on a number less than 3. Less than 3 is 1 and 2. So it's 2 over 6. Question 7. An ordinary fair dice is thrown once. On the probability scale, mark with a cross the probability that the dice lands on 10. You cannot get a 10 if you are rolling a fair dice, because on a dice you only have numbers starting from 1 up to 6. So the probability of getting a 10 is 0. Part B. Write down the probability that the dice lands on a number greater than 3. Greater than 3 is going to be 4, 5, and 6. So that's 3 over 6. Question 8. An ordinary fair dice is thrown once. On the probability scale, mark with a cross the probability the dice lands on a number less than 7. Less than 7, all numbers are less than 7 on a dice, because it's from 1 to 6. So probability of getting a number that's less than 7, it's going to be 1. Because every time you're going to roll this dice, you will always get a number that's less than 7. That's why your probability is a 1 whole. Part B. Write down the probability that the dice lands on 5. Only one side has a 5 and total number of sides are 6. So it's 1 over 6. Question 9. Sam spins a fair 8-sided spinner. Write down the probability that the spinner lands on 8. 1, 2, 3. 3 over 8. Question 10. Raffle buys one raffle ticket. A total of 250 raffle tickets are sold. One of these tickets will win the raffle. Each ticket has an equal chance of winning the raffle. Write down the probability that the raffle's ticket will win the raffle. If each ticket has an equal chance of winning and Raffle is buying one ticket, that means he has a chance 1 over 250 of winning the raffle. Part B. Write down the probability that Raffle's ticket will not win the raffle. When a question says something will not happen, you first find out the probability of it happening and you subtract that probability from 1 to get the probability of it not happening. So probability that Raffle is going to win the raffle is 1 over 250. So if I have to find the probability that he will not be winning, it's going to be 1 minus 1 over 250, which is 249 over 250. Question number 11. The probability of Barry winning a badminton match is 3 over 8. Work out the probability that Barry does not win a badminton match. Probability of him winning a match is 3 over 8. If I have to work out the probability that he doesn't win a match, it's going to be 1 takeaway 3 over 8, which is 5 over 8. Question number 12. The probability of Timmy winning a tennis match is 0.7. Work out the probability that Timmy does not win a tennis match. Again, the same rule applies here as before. 1 minus 0.7, which is 0.3. So the probability that Timmy is not going to win is 0.3, and the probability he will win is 0.7. If you add 0.7 to 0.3, that would give you a 1. Because probabilities always adds up to 1. Question 13. There are 26 sweets in a bag. 15 of the sweets are red. The rest of the sweets are white. One of the sweets is taken at random. Find the probability that the sweet is red. Now 15 sweets are red and total number of sweets are 26. The probability of getting a red is 15 over 26. If the question here asks, what is the probability of getting a white sweet? And that would be 1 takeaway 15 over 26, which is 11 over 26. Question number 14. There are 30 pens in a box. 12 of the pens are black, 7 of the pens are green, the rest of the pens are red. One of the pens is chosen at random. Find the probability the pen is red. We first work out the number of red pens. So 12 plus 7 will give me 19. 30 take away 19. Because total number of pens are 30. This is 11. So probability of getting a red pen is 11 over 30. Question 15. There are 53 counters in a bag. 15 of the counters are red. The rest of the counters are blue. One of the counters is taken at random. Find the probability that the counter is blue. Now, if 15 counters are red, so the rest of the counters are blue. 53 take away 15 is going to be 38. So 38 over 53 is the probability of getting a blue counter. Question number 16. A draw is being held to win a prize. Bruce buys 17 tickets. A total of 350 tickets are in the draw. Find the probability that Bruce does not win the prize. The probability that Bruce does win the prize is 17 over 350. If I have to work out the probability that he doesn't win the prize, it's going to be 1 takeaway 17 over 350, which is going to be 333 over 350. Question 17. There are 8 marbles in a bag. 4 marbles are white, 3 marbles are blue, 1 marble is green. 1 marble is selected at random from the bag. On the probability scale, mark with a cross the probability that the marble is red. There are 4 marbles that are red out of 8 marbles. If I simplify this, it's going to be 1 over 2. So the probability of getting a red marble from this bag is 1 over 2. On the probability scale, mark with a cross the probability that the marble is yellow. There are no yellow marbles in the bag, so the probability you will get a yellow marble from this bag is 0. That cannot happen. You cannot get a yellow marble from this bag because there are no yellow marbles in the bag. You only have red, blue, and green marbles. Question C. Write down the probability the marble is blue. There are 3 marbles that are blue, and the total number of marbles are 8. So 3 over 8. Question 18. Here are some number cards. One of the cards is selected at random. Write down the probability that the card has the number 8 on it. There are 2 cards here that has the number 8 on it. 2, and the total number of cards here are 7. So 2 over 7. Part B. Find the probability the card has an odd number on it. I will star all the odd numbers here. So 1, 5, and 3. So 3 over 7. Question number 19. There are some counters in a bag. The table shows the number of counters of each color. A counter is taken at random from the bag. Write down the probability that the counter is green. That is 3 over, I will add all of these numbers. 7 plus 2 is 9. 9 plus 5 is 14, and 14 plus 3 is 17. Write down the probability that the counter is not blue. The probability of the counter being blue is 2 over 17. So if I have to work out the probability that it's not blue, it's going to be 1 take away 2 over 17, which is 15 over 17. Question number 20. In a box of chocolates, there are 11 milk chocolates, 5 dark chocolates, and 7 white chocolates. Charlie takes one of the chocolates at random. Write down the probability that Charlie takes a white chocolate. There are 7 white chocolates, and the total number of chocolates are 11 plus 5 plus 7. Now 11 plus 5 is 16. 16 plus 7 is 23. Question 21, which is the last question of this worksheet. There are red counters, blue counters, yellow counters, and green counters in a bag. A counter is picked at random from the bag. The table shows the probabilities that the counter will be red, blue, and yellow. Now we know that probabilities always adds up to 1. So 0.2 plus 0.4 plus 0.3, 4 plus 2 is 6, 6 plus 3 is 9, that's 0.9. 1 take away 0.9 is 0.1. So the probability of getting a green counter is 0.1.